I, Dr. Yogesh Zozare, takes the opportunity to welcome you all to this wonderful webinar, Leadership Essential, the three factors for career success at the Dr. D.Y. Patil Vidyapeeth Center for Online Learning, Pune. Dear friends, when everything has been slowed down in this era of the pandemic, Dr. D.Y. Patil Vidyapeeth has not slowed down their speed of teaching and learning. So, to give an uninterrupted educational services to the student and to accelerate the growth of the people and to develop the future business leader, today Dr. D.Y. Patil Vidyapeeth Center for Online Learning has organized this wonderful webinar. Today we will have a very experienced resource person, Ms. Anu Sukhija, who is an OD consultant, who is a corporate trainer, to deliver this wonderful webinar. Now, I welcome Dr. Safia Farooqui, Director, Dr. D.Y. Patil Vidyapeeth Center for Online Learning, to address all the students and all the participants. Ma'am, please.
Very good morning to all of you. On the behalf of Dr. D.Y. Patil University, myself, Dr. Safia, Director of Center for Online Learning, welcome you all for this wonderful session, which will be given by Anu Sukhija ma'am, who is an extraordinary personality in this era and who will definitely motivate you for the entire program. Now, this webinar we have organized today under the able leadership and guidance of our trustee, Executive Director, Honorable Dr. Smita Jadhav ma'am. And we are proud to let you know that Dr. D.Y. Patil University has ranked 46th in the India category by NIRF among the many universities in India. We are accredited by NAAC with A++ grade, and D.Y. Patil University is known in imparting world-class education to the student. So I will not take much time. I request Sukhija ma'am to take over and take the charge of this webinar session. And I welcome all of her on the behalf of the entire Dr. D.Y. Patil University family. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you so much. Thanks, ma'am. And good morning and namaste, everyone. First of all, thank you so much to the director, ma'am, and all the teaching, non-teaching staff who've been a part of this webinar, and they have sent me this invitation to be a part of DPU family. Especially so because I have seen the curriculum and the course structure of the online MBA program, and it goes very well with the leadership talk that we have chosen to deliver today. The online MBA program offered by DPU is, I think, one of the best that I have seen, and it provides a unique blend of management subjects, which go very well with the industry expectations. So once again, thank you so much. Thanks for this invitation. And namaste to the veterans with the vintage and wisdom, and also to the young talent that we see on this webinar today, the young talent with a lot of promise and passion. I'm leadership coach Anu Sukhija, founder and director of Optimus Learning Solutions. We assist individuals and businesses in achieving optimum results. In short, you can say that to help people live a fulfilling life and enjoy a successful career. Okay, so that's why it's an honor to talk about something that is very, very close to my heart, the three key factors of career success. So if I share the screen with you, let me check if I'm allowed to do that. Okay, so I hope if the panelist can confirm if the screen is visible and if you can see there is a PowerPoint presentation that has been shared with you. Is it visible?
Yes, ma'am.
It is.
Yeah.
Okay, so here is the topic for our talk today, the three factors for your career success. So in the next 40 minutes or so, about 45 minutes, what I'm going to do is to share a slice from my life. Okay, and my struggles, my discoveries, and my success in the corporate arena. And let me tell you, no one can tell you better than me. I'm, in fact, the right person to be talking about this topic today, because from being a misfit to an entrepreneur, I can proudly claim been there, done that. Okay, so here we are talking about the 3 factors for your career success. Now, before we begin, let's quote the wise guy. Okay, the wise guy, and I always like to call the wise guy is Einstein. Okay, so Albert Einstein has said this, that the only source of knowledge is experience. So to experience this talk fully, the invitation to the group is to do this, which is being intuitive, being immersive, and being attentive. So intuitive, immersive, and attentive is the ask from each one of you who have chosen to be here today. Now, how do we do that? Simple ways of working. We have put everyone on mute, and that is only to eliminate the background noise. But it's not that we do not want to hear your thoughts and feelings. Whenever you want to share something, please use the chat function. In fact, I would love to see this as a dialogue, not as a lecture or a monologue. So please keep pouring your thoughts and feelings and your ideas on the chat function. If you have any questions pertaining to the subject or any particular section, then my request would be to make a note of these questions, because we would have a dedicated Q&A section towards the end of the talk. Okay, and therefore we would be able to address these questions better at that time. However, if you think you have a question or a query which needs to be resolved immediately, then do use the chat function, or I don't know if you have access to the reactions button. If you can put a hand up or something where that will catch our attention and we can answer the question immediately. um, Last but not least, this is something that we are getting to terms with. Everything is happening online these days, so you and I, we are still learning the ways of the so-called new normal. Okay, so after all, it's a technical platform, so there may be some connectivity issues. It might happen, it might not happen. There may be some lag. The worst case scenario could be that your speaker disappears from the screen. Okay, so do not worry, do not panic. Do not log out for sure, because we have the backup plans in place, and the course correction would happen very soon. All right, so now it's interesting, when we were sitting here and I was waiting for the webinar to start, I was doing this. Okay, and I was kind of keeping myself occupied. Sometimes I sit with this, when I'm doing a training session or I'm coaching someone, and people are always intrigued. They always say that, why are you so much fidgeting, and why are you playing around with this so much? So today it makes a lot of relevance. I'm going to tell you that what relevance does this have to our topic, to our subject today. So at the moment I'm just keeping it down. But now that I picked it up and I have showed this to you, I think we are ready to be transported to a different time and place. Okay, so, and that different time and place is, let me take you to your childhood. Okay, everyone, all of us, we have enjoyed playing some games in the childhood. Some of them were, we easily, we were like naturals at such games, and some of them intrigued us, like this one. Okay, I had to spend a lot of time to figure this one out. So if I have to ask you this question, that what was your favorite game in childhood? So what would your answer be? Use the chat function, put the answers over there. And one important thing about answering on the chat is also that please choose all panelists and attendees, so that we can see your answers. I have given you one example, snakes and ladders, maybe, or maybe any other game of your choice. So let's see if we have some answers coming up. Okay, interesting. Amisha, thanks. I see cards. I used to love playing cards, and with the cousins and all, especially during summer vacations. So we would have, those long nights playing cards and all kind of crazy stuff. Dr. Devikar, I read your answer. Oh, a lot of answers coming up. And Dr. Devikar said chess. Wow. Okay, now that's a brainy game. Pooja says business. Jignesh says balloons. Shiv M says hide and seek. Wow. Okay, carom. That's been another favorite of mine. Ludo. Yes, and I still play this game of Ludo. Cards, Ludo, carom. Priyanka says. Rohit says cards and chess. Okay, Ankit, hide and seek. And then we got some outdoor games as well. Wow. Okay. Fighting in school. Okay. All right. Carom, Monopoly, Ludo, football, so on and so forth. Beautiful. And I'm sure, yeah, cricket, of course. How can we forget cricket? Okay. And I'm sure that many of these games you still cherish playing. Some of us, whenever we find time, maybe a game of cards or Ludo with family or kids, or we do, right? Horse riding. Wow, that's interesting. Sayed, thank you so much. Seesaw. Oh, okay. Tell me about it. Yes. So I see that I have caught your attention. Now that we have made a trip to childhood, let me bring you back to your adult life. Okay. And let me say this to you, that these are the games that we played in childhood and we continue playing them today. But there are also certain games which people play, right? And in fact, life itself is a game. So Shakespeare has said that life is a stage. Similarly, some people have said that life is a game. And it's not one person who has said it. There are a lot of people who have said it. So much so that there is this whole list of books that you can see on internet, right? That talks about life being a game. The one book that I'm quoting here today is a book by Jim Copeland, and which says life is a game and your success depends on how do you play it. Okay, wow, very philosophical. Life is a game and your success depends on how do you play it. Now, how you play it is really interesting. So everyone has a strategy, I presume, to play a particular game, isn't it? So when you play a game of cards, you strategize, you decide your moves and counter moves. When I was trying to I was learning the rubric cube, um, I was looking at the cheat codes and how can I solve it quickly. So there is always a strategy. Life is a race. Thanks, Gunjan. Yes, you are quoting one of my favorite movies, Three Idiots. So we have a strategy, and that strategy determines that how do we play the game of life. Now, one of the strategies that I have, at least I have heard, people saying or quoting a lot, is work hard and you will succeed. Okay, hard work as a strategy. If you work hard, you will go places. Nothing or no one can stop you ever. So work hard and you will succeed. I've heard this so many times in my life. Therefore, I want to take your opinion, and here I will stop sharing. Okay, because I want to run a poll, and this poll will have the same quotation again, and it would be work hard, you will succeed. Whether you agree, that's option 1, you disagree, or you do not know because you may not have ever heard of this quotation. So let me launch the poll or seek help from the moderators. If Gaurav sir is there, because I don't see the launch poll option available to me. So Gaurav sir, would you mind launching?
Yeah, I'll make you host.
Okay, sure. So in the meanwhile, I'm reading some answers. Work smartly, rather, Harsh says, and Priyanka also says smart work will also help. Okay, fair enough. So apply yourself and choose or vote for this particular poll, which is okay. So which is, if you work hard, you will succeed. Like I said, agree, disagree, don't know. Okay, and we see some poll results coming up. Wow. Okay. I'm interested to see don't know also coming up, which is interesting. Very, very interesting. Okay. And I see some answers provided to me in the chat function also. Thank you so much. Okay. Wow. We will give it 5 more seconds. Those who want to vote haven't voted yet. Please go for it. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and we stop. Okay, so a whooping 75% of the people, they agree with the quote. Okay, and about 23% voted. Out of voted people, they disagree. And there is also a 2% of population who have chosen don't know. So I will just come back. Okay, and I will share the results for you to see. Okay, if you can see the results on the screen, so that will tell you that the majority of the population, they still believe in the age old adage, which is if you work hard you will succeed. Okay, so which is no brainer. Many people would say that, hey, we knew that already. Okay, so let me go back to the presentation. So we are back to this quotation, work hard and you will succeed. Now what if I tell you that I agree with that 2%? Okay, or better, if I agree with the 23% of the population who say that we disagree. Now I do not even know their reasons for disagreement, but what my reason is why I may not agree with this fully completely is because work hard, that's a good thought, but then it's not just working hard that will help you succeed in what we call the career game. Okay, and I'm please pardon me because I'm using a word called game for something as serious as your career, but then I'm calling it a very serious game. So what I'm trying to tell you here is that while hard work is a very appreciable quality and we have always cherished it in our culture, in every culture, but then in the game of career, it's not just the hard work that will help you succeed. There is much more to it than the hard work. And if you do not know what is that much more, my friends, then you are about to lose it. And I don't like using this word losing it, because when you will lose it, sometimes we lose it like a pack of cards. Someone said that they love playing cards. It's the analogy is that it will all crumble down. Okay, and let's face it, it's no fun being a loser. Okay, it's no fun being a loser. We keep hearing things like, it's how you play that matters, and it doesn't matter, winning losing doesn't matter, but you need to play with your heart. Of course you need to play with your heart, but winning matters. It does matter, and no one loves to be a loser. When I say trust me, please trust me, because what is going to happen next is I'm going to share my story. Okay, the story of being a loser. You heard me right. Usually people talk about their conquest and their achievements and accomplishment, but today I'm going to be very, very honest here with this audience, and I'm going to tell you that I was in that place. I was feeling like a loser once, and I'll tell you how did it begin. So if I take you back at the start of my career, I joined advertising industry. So by qualification, I'm supposed to be an advertising professional. And that's how I started. And in fact, I was doing very well. But then take two, to cut the long story short, a career break happened. And then when I wanted to make a comeback, then what I did is what many youngsters, they choose to do, especially when we do not have clarity about our career path. So I made a transition. I changed my industry. Okay, and I landed myself in a very different industry, very, very different from what I was qualified, to choose an industry for. Completely different from that path. Now, the first challenge that I faced was not knowing anything about the industry or the expectations. How do the managers, the leaders, they behave? What kind of crowd would I be rubbing shoulders with? No clue. In fact, if I tell you the truth, even the size and the scale of the organization, that intimidated me, right? The space and the structure, it was huge. So that was a first setback. But then, being a hardworking girl that I was, and I still am, and I also believed, what people have told me: work hard and you will succeed. And by the way, working hard that time did pay off. So I worked hard, I slogged, I learned everything about the industry. It took me little time, but I got the grip, on the market, on the business, then the nature of work, everything. And then I was ready for the next level. Okay, and what was the next level? Okay, what was the next level? Any guesses? Okay, so when you are, you find your bearings, you settle down. For any professional, hardworking one, I underline and I make it bold. For any hardworking professional, the next level is growth. Okay, you want promotion. So it's a dream of every hardworking employee. When you sit with your managers and bosses, they say that, what do you want? And you say that, sir, मैं इतना मेहनत कर रहा हूँ. I want to be promoted. I want promotion this time in this cycle. Well, I thought that I'm a hardworking person and I would be easily promoted. At least that's what my colleagues and my manager also, made me believe. So I started applying for IJPs. If you have heard of IJPs, they are internal job promotions. Okay, one IJP after another. And now there was a string of rejections. Okay, despite being hardworking, performing very well, one of the top performers in that particular business unit team, I still saw IJPs coming and going, and I was not getting promoted at all. Okay, numerous feedbacks, sitting down sessions with the manager, with the boss, and the boss kept telling me, work hard. Okay, and I kept working hard, and he would keep telling me, you work hard, don't worry. Now, I kept working hard, but now I was beginning to get worried. Okay, and let me tell you something about myself. I'm quite a determined person, and people who know me, they will tell you that if I've set my eyes on something, I want to achieve it. I have always been high on achievement orientation, have always been a good student. So hardworking and seeing results, this has worked very well in the school and the college, and it worked well in the corporate also in the beginning. But then when it came to promotion, somehow it didn't work. It didn't work. Promotion to the next level, Harsh? Yeah, thanks. Yeah, you answered it. Promotion. Yes. Yes. Promotion. Now, why the hard work was not getting me the promotion? I thought I'm deserving. I thought I'm outperforming other team members, but I was not promoted. Okay. And now what happened is this. Um, I realized two things happened actually. One is that, honestly speaking, after one of the blockbuster defeat, I call it a blockbuster defeat. And I tell you the reason. In that IJP, I and the promotion and myself, we were this close, this close. Okay. And I was very sure, dead sure, even my team members, they were telling me, yo, you're going to be promoted this time. There is no other, worthy candidate. But in that IJP also, the promotion just brushed past me. Okay. Very heartbreaking, very frustrating. And when you are stuck with frustration and self-doubt, what do many people they choose to do? Any ideas? Any guesses? You have seen these stories. I'm trying, I'm a good performer, but I apply for promotion. I come very close, but I don't get promoted. Then what do many people they do? Wow. Thank you so much, Priyanka. That's exactly what I wanted to do. Leave the job. And in fact, I said that, to hell with them, if I may say that. To hell with them. This job doesn't deserve a person like me. Yeah, it doesn't deserve a person like me. I'm hardworking and they do not know how to recognize talent. And I wanted to put down my papers, but thank God, better sense prevailed. Okay, and this better sense has helped me sit here today, and I have lived to tell the tale to all of you. Because the second biggest thing that happened is this realization that I need to be a game changer. Be a game changer. World is already full of players. I started noticing what is happening around me. What is it? That missing factor, the missing component. If I'm hardworking and if I'm performing very well, why is it that the promotion does not happen to me? And what did I discover? In my, I was so naive. I was a newcomer. In my innocence and make believe, I had thought that the only path to career growth and the next level is hard work. Okay, and no wonder why I was thinking like that, because my family, my friends, my team members, co-workers, manager, leaders, even those 75% of the population, those who said you agree, hard work hard work is the key to success. All these people had made me believe that if as long as I'm working hard, I need not worry, I'll be promoted. And there is something that struck me. Okay, there is something that struck me, that if hard work is the only component required to excel in one's career, then how are promotion made? Okay, think about this. During the time of promotion, when a promotion is due, you have 5 equally hardworking managers, abled managers, if I may call them, rise simultaneously to a single position, right? So in that situation, how do you distinguish one from another? And it's very unlike your school college life. I give you an example, same example. So as long as you have, let's say you got a cutoff, and as long as you score a cutoff, let's say 96%, your seat in a prestigious institute is guaranteed. Okay, unlike school college, even if you have worked hard, you have performed hard, but remember that there are 5 other people, 10 other people, 15 other people, they are also, they have also achieved the target and they have also performed equally well. Okay, so now I started studying this career game closely. Okay, and I discovered something very interesting. And this is something that I would like to share with my young friends here, and forever young friends who are stuck in their career rung. Okay, so we need to understand the field. Okay, if this is a career game, and let's just presume that this is a career game. If you want to play this game very well, you need to understand the field. Okay, so let me show you the playing field. How does a career game in a corporate world looks like? So in the corporate world, the playing field looks like a pyramid. Okay, and if you are an employee entering at the ground level, and let's presume, for the sake of presumption, that this organization has about 1000 employees and you are one of them, and if you are at an entry level, then if you want to reach at the promotion or at the top of the game, then you must outdistance 999 others to reach at that single position. Interesting, isn't it? And these 999, if they also want to reach at that same position, can you now imagine how complex or difficult it can get? Yeah, and these 999 are players. Okay, so let's just talk about the players now. Now, what do the players they do in any kind of game? What do they do? When you are playing a game, so let's just use the chat function. Okay, and you tell me that when you are playing a game and you have players in the game, what do they do? play by rules. Beautiful. Okay. Priyanka, that's another thought that we are going to explore in some time. So the players, they give you a hard fight, isn't it? They make the game a contest. They make the game, yeah, try to outsmart each other. Beautiful. Thanks, Pooja. Nikhil says they are the competition. Wow. Okay. Voila, that's the answer. Let me introduce the element of competition in the game. Okay. And literally, as you can see on the screen, everyone is trying to outsmart you. They want to give their best, of course, and they will apply their own strategy. Yes, Asmita, Sagar. Shiv says, search for other player weakness. Wow. And improve your own skills. Beautiful. Now we are playing the game. Okay. So now there are two kind of players. There are two kind of players. Or we can say that you will have competition at two levels. Level one. Okay. And the competition is within. So you can call it intra-company competition within the same team. Each one trying to outdo another. Okay, and I have used a famous example from a very famous Bollywood movie. Okay, sometimes they may not even look at the overall team goal, and they will not think about being a team player or whatever you hear or read in your school college books. Okay, hardcore competition. Now at this level, the competition can be of two types. The players can be of two types. Competition can be of two types. First kind of competition can be what we call healthy competition. Okay, we share good practices with each other. We reach out to each other and we say, hey, that was a good one. How did you achieve that this month? And we mentor each other, we coach each other, we share things, we take hurdles. So healthy competition. And then there can be another level of competition within the teams, within the companies, within the departments. Okay, and that can be what I call dirty game, and you experience it in the corporate world. Unlike school, college, where most of the students, of course, we have healthy competition there as well, because you want to maintain your rank or the privilege or the status you enjoy. But then we are ready, we are happy to share our notes with each other most of the time. Sometimes you see many people are reluctant to do that. Dirty game. Okay, now how do you deal with the dirty game is another counter move that you need to think of. And sometimes when you win this, this company competition, you may also be pitted against what I call intercompany competition. Okay, we remember this movie, don't we? Okay, one organization versus another organization. Nike versus Adidas, Coke versus PepsiCo. Okay, different players but similar industry. And sometimes you are pitted against, yeah, thank you so much for identifying the movie. It's a cult movie, iconic movie. Two teams, okay, coming from two different backgrounds but playing the same game. It happens in the corporate world also. You got different players in the same market. And why is it important for you to understand the outer environment? Because very often your own targets, your own goals, your own KRAs, they get revised as per what the other players in the same industry are achieving. And your managers also tell you that if you can get me, let's say, sales leads, x number of sales leads every month, look at the other company and how do their sales team they manage to achieve sales targets, whatever, ABC. So competition, and competition at two different levels. Okay, so interesting, isn't it? And this is how the career game progresses. Now those who know how to manage competition, uh, they have it easy, and those who are miss goody two shoes, sometimes they find it very tough, very very tough. So moving ahead. Now, here is a question for you. You are preparing yourself for future, and you are preparing yourself for a career ahead. What's your game plan? What kind of thought is already given how would you plan it? Before I know more about your plan, there is something very interesting I'm going to ask you. You may find it almost a weird question, but this is a very useful question for us to ponder over. And the question is this: in order to be outplayed by other players, intercompany, intra-company, in order to be outplayed by others, what is the easiest thing to do? And I'm not asking you in order to win. I'm asking you to lose the match to anyone less talented, less hardworking, with lesser skill set. What do you need to lose it all? What's the first step, the easiest step? Being complacent is one. Shiv, thank you so much. It's a beautiful answer. It could be one of the reasons. Yes, I want to hear play. Okay, but would, if you don't play, I think is it don't play at all, and that will make you lose anyway. Positive attitude. Okay, I'm asking you a reverse question. I'm not asking you that what does it take for you to win the game. I'm asking you what does it take for you to lose it all, lose it easily. Be idle. Yes. Give up. Okay. Do nothing. Yes. I'm still waiting for, let's say, 5 more seconds. Lack of focus. Getting diverted. Show no interest. Wow. Poor efforts. I can give you a hint. I can give you a clue. These are good answers, but I am looking for a specific answer. A little while ago, I had shown you a still from a movie called Lagan. Okay, and there was a young player who was out, who was declared out. In the Indian team, there was a young boy, and so of course the opposite team did something very tricky. Okay, because the boy didn't know about this, so he was bowled out. In fact, he was stumped out. He started running, but he did something. You need to go and watch Lagan again. I'm referring to that famous scene where the boy stepped out of the crease, right? And he was stumped out. And of course, that was because he didn't know the rules. Okay, he didn't know the rules. They taught him. He was just picked up. He was very young anyway. He was taken to the Indian side. But obviously, not all the rules of the game were taught to the young boy. And the young boy, taking advantage of his innocence, the veterans, the senior players, they got him out easily. So you cannot win the game. You have no chance, boss. You cannot win the game at all if you do not know the rules. And since I'm quoting sports, I'm using sports as an analogy. Let me tell you, do you know this? That there are about 42 rules in the game of cricket and 17 in the game of soccer. No? So interesting. I think the professional players would know these rules by heart. Okay, and unprofessionals or the sports enthusiast like you and me, we may not even know. And that's why sometimes when I'm watching a game of cricket, and I'm not a cricket buff, so I need to turn to my son or my husband and I need to ask them that what happened here. And he says, oh, it was a no ball. Rules, bare minimums. You don't know the rules, you cannot win the game. Okay, so now these are the rules of the game. If you don't know them, there is absolutely no chance of you winning it at all. Okay, so what are the rules of the career game? And in fact, these 3 cardinal rules can also be called the 3 key factors. And that's the topic for today. The 3 key factors, the 3 rules. Okay, Gunjan says protocol. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. The protocol or the rules. Basketball has highest penalties in a game. Yes, Harish. interesting information, a good insight. Okay, that's why the rules are important. We need to know the rules. First rule of the career game: you are going to be outvoted, you are going to be outplayed, outsmarted, outdone by anyone easily if you do not read the environment. Okay, let me take you back to my own story. When you make a career change, when you decide that, okay, let me do this, do not enter into the corporate arena without your homework. In fact, this also goes so relevant. This is so relevant when we tell students ready to be recruited, when we tell them that, have you done your homework or the research on the organization that the interviewers are coming from? Okay, if you do not know about the organization very well, what are what is their vision, what is their mission, what are they made up of, what kind of values do they carry? I'll give you one very simple example that how can this be a career sabotaging move, not to know the organization or not to read the environment. Let me give you a simple example. Let's say that you are throwing a party, okay, and um, it's a party and you invite everyone. And when I say you invite everyone, you invite your family members, you invite your friends, close friends, you invite your colleagues, and you also invite a new friend. And you have only met him, let's say, 2 days ago. But being a nice person that you are, you end up inviting him. Little do you know that this person is very different from who you are, or this person is very different from the friends that you have. And what kind of differences could be? Age. Okay, let's say he's much senior, or he's younger than the crowd that you have, or the category age group that you belong to. This person may be very different from in terms of educational qualification. This person may be different from experiences, background, lifestyle. In short, this person is so different that he finds himself as the odd one out. Now he has arrived at the party. What do you expect this person to do now? Of course, he sees that, everyone here is so different than me. What do you think? What would he be doing? Have you ever been to some places where, you feel that, oh, I don't belong here? So Renu says, yes, we all have been to such places. And she says that this person might try to communicate with others. Okay, that is one option. What is the other option? Absolutely. Dr. Neeta says, just watch. Yes, I have done that. I've withdrawn myself to a quiet corner and I'm just watching. I have become a spectator. I'm just watching. Now, I do not know where to go home to talk. Stand in the corner. Yes, I may just pick up the drink and stand in the corner and just, keep sipping the drink. Or I may sit in a corner and brood. Yeah, stay quiet in a corner and leave early. Absolutely. And Shiv says, try to gauge what is common among the majority. Yes. But this may not be a good experience. Question ourselves, why are we here? Right. And being very, very thoughtful of what I'm speaking. Yeah, that's another good answer. So I may be hesitant. I don't know. I'm unsure. I don't know what to say, how to behave, right? Because I clearly do not belong to this group. And what about the group? What would they be doing? When I'm sitting in a corner or, withdrawing myself on a sofa and just feeling awkward, what about the larger group? What are they doing? Beautiful answer, Rashmi. Thank you so much. They will ignore me. This analogy, this example fits very well in the game of career, in the corporate world. If you do not understand, and what we are talking about here is culture. If we do not understand a company's culture, which we are a part of, then the larger group, there will be larger group and subgroups and isolation maybe. So if we are not accepted, then we will be ignored. We will not be thought of worthy of bringing, bringing close. And eventually what would happen, let's go back to the party example one last time. So what would happen when I'm going to throw my next party? Am I going to invite this guy when I clearly saw his discomfort? Am I going to invite this guy? Maybe not. And so most of us, we say maybe not. Okay, because I thought that is better to kind of, ignore him. Why to put him through misery, right? So I may not invite him, he may not get invited to the party. Or worst case scenario, if I'm sending him an invitation, he may choose not to turn up, he may decline my invitation. Okay, now this is what people do when they do not read the environment, when they do not assimilate the cultural values, when they do not put it in the DNA. Okay, when they don't function the way the larger system, the organization functions, if there is a dissonance, if there is a disconnect, then you will not be brought closer. You will never get closer to to the people who matter. Or you will withdraw yourself and you will just come, log in, do your work and go home. And people say that also. They say, मैं आता हूँ, मैं अपना काम करके चला जाता हूँ, मुझे किसी से लेना देना नहीं है. We need to understand why आपको लेना देना नहीं है. And is one of the reasons because you find yourself a culture misfit? Is that one of the reasons why you do not mingle, or why you do not feel what we call attached, why there is no sense of belonging, why there is no inclusion being felt? Okay, so we need to understand the culture. Now, you got different kind of organizations, and you will see that there is something very, very important about them. And there is this inherent philosophy, or the fundamental premise on which they are built. You need to read it. Okay, so you can see traditional conservative kind of organization, service oriented. You see, likewise, result orientation, people orientation. You got companies, they believe in doing lean work. And you may see those companies which the only mantra is to keep evolving. Okay, you have companies that encourage their people to be innovative. On the other hand, you may have companies, their sole focus is on quality. Okay, so different companies, different kind of culture. Now we call it different strokes for different folks, and it's the same with the company culture also. If you do not read the environment, then you would be like that person at the party. The party will go on, but you will be standing in a corner, ignored, isolated. So therefore, the first rule is to read the environment very well. Okay, and be a part of it. One very notable example that comes to my mind is we've been using the case study of the Taj Hotel and the terror attacks. Okay, and 26/11 terror attacks, and we use it as a case study where how did about a dozen staff members of Taj Hotel that day, they showed something phenomenal. They went beyond their call of duty, they went beyond their role and functions. And because the one of the cultural values is the Taj Hotel has, is to take care of his guest. And we saw that everywhere. We saw that even from a phone operator to a swimming pool cleaner, each one of them, they were that day, they were the epitome, they were the representation of that value. They were that value themselves. They were that value personified. And that's what would help you if you become a part of the culture, if you adopt that culture. Rule number 2. But before we do the rule number 2, here is poll number 2. Okay, and The poll number 2 is be you. The world will adjust. Be you. That means do not change, be you, and the world will adjust. Okay, so I'll stop sharing here and I will launch, let's say, poll number 2. Okay, and same process. How many of you agree that be you, do not change, the world will adjust? So agree, disagree, don't know, unsure. Okay, yeah, some answers coming up on the chat also, which is okay. And the poll is also in progress, so we'll just give it quick 10 seconds. Mm-hmm. Okay, I see some interesting responses on the chat. Dipanshi says we need to be real, not to be perfect. Sure. And Priyanka says change is better. Interesting. Okay, so I will end the poll now. Okay, and I will share the results with you. And the results this time are interesting. We have a close contest between agree, disagree. And almost the equal amount of percentage says that they agree with the quote, and then we have those who disagree. Okay, and now I think you have started understanding the rules very well, and that's why I see a difference in opinion usually. And I'll just stop sharing this. Okay, and I'll take you back to our talk. Okay, so usually you see that people opt for be you and the world will adjust. Okay, you see this as a WhatsApp status, you see this image being viral on Facebook umpteen times. Okay, and it talks about no change and be the real you and all that. Of course, be you, but I would say the world will adjust if you are loving, if you are kind, if you are compassionate, if you are helpful, and if you are useful. Okay, if you are these 5 things, then the world will adjust. But if you are, let's say you report late to work, okay, you take a lot of time in decision making, you are not a good team player, okay, you overthink, and you suffer from low self-esteem, there is no way, boss, that the world will adjust. Your manager will never adjust, no one will adjust. Okay, so someone said that change is the only constant. That's so true. We need to bring that change in our approach. So the rule number 2 talks about the change in the language. Okay, the change in the language, and that's one of the biggest and the most difficult changes that you will ever bring in yourself. Okay, and we need to understand, why do we need to bring this change in our personality, in our behavior? Why? Because if you look at any organization, right, like a video game, you got levels, you got level 1, level 2, level 3. And would you agree with me if I say this, that every level requires a different kind of expertise and skills from yourself? Yeah. Similarly, in an organization, in any organization for that matter, only the names may differ, you have these 7 levels, okay, of career growth. So these 7 levels are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, not recruited, entry level, team leader, manager, senior manager, AVP, VP, and the topmost, which is CEO or CXO. Now here is the piece. You need to understand what kind of language the next level speaks, and you need to adapt in advance to the next level. Remember, when there are 2 abled, equally hardworking managers up for promotion, there is this one thing that will distinguish one from another. Okay, it could be this manager, one of them is already speaking the next level language. Okay, and if you do not speak the language, again, you can see the impact. So level 1 is not recruited, the interviewer doesn't feel that you speak the language of the company or the culture. You don't speak the language of let's say smart work, you don't speak the language of leadership, You don't speak the language of passion. Very, very important. And that's how they recruit or reject salespeople, that the passion is missing. Education is right, qualification is there. So this level's language, what is it? Okay, and the language does not just mean, the, I would say the syntax and the vocabulary. It would also include your grooming. It would also include your non-verbal communication. It would also even include your, your ethics, your character, commitment. So you need to understand which language the next level speaks. And if you see that there is a difference, the lower part of the pyramid is slightly broader. And as you go up at the top, you see that it gets narrower. And usually if you correlate this with, the higher positions, you will see that the people in the higher position, they like to speak less. Okay, and because by then they have refined their language, their comprehension, listening to, to a very, very sharper point. Now, one very good thing that you can do is to start observing. Identify your role models. How do they carry themselves? How do they speak? Their gestures, their mannerism, the way they carry themselves, the way they dress. Okay, so this is rule number 2, the second critical factor, which is understanding the language and adapting the next level. Now we are moving to the third rule, which is a delicious option. You have the option to, what I call bake a pie and eat it too. Okay, and if you do that, if you can bake a delicious pie and you can eat it too, then you will be like this man on the screen, happy and merry. Okay, so what is pie? Let's call it a recipe for success. And the word pie has 3 letters, and every letter stands for something. So the P in pie stands for performance, the I in pie stands for image, and the E in pie stands for exposure. And if it's a pie, let's say if it's a pie, it's a pie chart. Okay, so here comes one last poll for the day, which is now coming up, poll number 3. And I'm launching it. First, let me tell you the question. Which one out of these 3, according to you, is the most important contributing component in your career success? And the 3 options are PI, performance, image, and exposure. I am going to launch the poll now. Go for it. Okay, I see more and more people are voting for this one. I think this is of a great interest to everyone. 53 out of 73 people have voted. I will wait for another 10 seconds because it's a crucial question. Let me understand. What do you think? Which is the most important factor? Performance, image, or exposure? And let me now do the reverse counting. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, and we stop. And I'm going to share the results with you. Okay, so as predicted, performance has taken the first spot. Okay, it's 49% that goes to performance, and then 44% goes to exposure, and then is the image, which is 23%. So according to the audience, the top one position goes to performance, exposure comes second, and image is third. Okay, and let's now quickly check, okay, the validity of the poll. Okay, so, and by the way, it's a famous model by Harvey Coleman. Okay, and according to this model, Performance contributes to about 10% in your career success, image 30%, and exposure is 60%. Okay, and I can explain. Let's look at them, each one of them quickly. Okay, performance. Now, performance is 10%, but it is the entry ticket. It is what gets you even considered for a placement. So if you have a cutoff, if you have an eligibility, other than that, they will not even entertain you. So even in the career, in your job, your manager wants you to display or demonstrate performance. Perform or perish. That's the bare minimum denominator. Okay, it is also your reputation builder. It helps you leave a legacy. Okay, and it confirms your ability to go to the next level. So that's how your manager knows if you are performing consistently. And one thing about performance is that you need to keep raising the bar, because once you have performed at a certain level, that's a given. Okay, so you need to kind of raise the bar. Let's go to image. What does that mean? It's a message that you send out to the world. Okay, and that includes attire, confidence, and your persona, your demeanor. You need to develop your image early in your career, because it screams to others and it says that I'm ready for the next level. Now, while cultivating a positive image, please be careful that you need to have this image consistently, the same image. It should not be what we call in Hindi, we call kathni karni mein antar. You say something, but the image says something else. So, and also all interactions should display the same kind of image. Let's say that, I display a very calm disposition when I'm talking to you, and the very moment the session is over, I'm yelling at someone. So there is a disconnect. Last but the most important factor, which is a big 60%, is exposure. Now what does that mean? Exposure means being known to the people who matter. Okay, and it's got the high career impact, in fact the highest. How others know of your performance? We have heard things like blowing your trumpet. How do you showcase your work? How do you talk about it? How do you talk about your own role? How do you talk about your company? And when you go and meet people, how comfortable are you? Make yourself visible. Your visibility really, really matters. Okay, and create network of mentors. Create network of mentors, bosses, champions who will champion your cause. They will talk highly of you, behind your back. Here is a question for you. How many of you are active on LinkedIn? How many of you, follow some great influencers? You send them, request to connect. Build ecosystems. Be part of important groups and circles to gain visibility. But also a word of caution, that it's a good thing, but if you overdo it, then you are in radar. You are under radar, and people are watching you all the time. So even if you slip once, is where you need to pay a penalty, a price. So just be careful about the exposure. You should not overexpose, like literally like the camera roll. Okay, so we have come to the end, my friends, and so these are the 3 rules of career game that you need to keep in mind. And if you think that these are the new rules, they aren't new. Okay, so the last piece is this, that the game is on. The game is on even now. Okay, and if you want to draw comparison between the career game and the college game, it's pretty much the same. Your professors are the managers. Okay, they always encourage you to perform. They ask you to schedule your timetable, study, and ensure that you get good marks, because they are worried that you may not even get called for an interview or a placement. Okay, so while they definitely encourage you for the performance, I request the teaching staff, the students, everyone, please also pay attention to cultivating image. Okay, so that if the interviewer decides to call your director or your professor or 3 friends in college and wants to check with them, what do they have to say about you? What do they say about you? What kind of image do you have? Is it a positive image? Is it a negative image? Is it an image of a leader? Is it an image of someone who is very helpful? What kind of image do you have? in the college, in the eyes of your professors. Last but not least is exposure. Okay, make sure you take initiatives. And it's just not the score or the marks on the resume that you have. You need to show that, you know, you organize, let's say, a cultural event. You are a part of, you know, XYZ clubs in the college, and you have led projects, you have initiated, led, and participated. So make sure your extracurricular activities also appear on your resume. Otherwise you will not be able to show the exposure. Okay, and therefore I would say, please play well. It's a career game. Otherwise, you know, remember my story, you may get frustrated and you may be ridden with self doubts. So three important rules or three key factors, I repeat: read the environment, adapt the language, and build a fantastic pie. Okay, and thanks for your support. Thanks for being a wonderful audience and listening. And we will quickly have any thoughts, any questions, any queries that you wish to ask. So I'll just stop sharing and I'll check. Thanks, Nikhil. I had equally wonderful time delivering this session. Thank you so much. Thanks, Priyanka. I also loved interacting with each one of you. And yeah, lot of thank you. I can read. Beautiful. Thank you so much. I'm grateful. Thank you, Dr. Neeta. Yes.
Now I request Sandeep sir to please continue the session of question and answer.
Sure. Thank you.
Yes, sir. We have one question in our Q&A section. How to manage people on job who is doing politics?
Okay, let me see how to manage people on job who is doing politics. Okay, and all right, so yeah, so very quickly, and it's a question by Avinash, right? Well, Avinash, I would say what has helped me, and I can only share from my experience, what has really helped me is to be politics proof. You know, like you have a bulletproof jacket. Please be corporate politics proof, and please be mindful, please be aware. So awareness is the first step. You are caught unaware. When you are caught unaware, then the politics can be deadly. Okay, when you go prepared, you are going armed, you know that there would be politics, then all you need to do is to dismiss it, stop or avoid the temptation of jumping into the politics and being a volunteer yourself. Okay, so the moment you decide to do it, you also indulge in the politics, is where, you know, the politics gets intensified. Stay away, dismiss it. Some people will always be like that. So, but yes, backup, create backups. Please be mindful if you think that someone is going to talk about someone else, and you know, they're going to talk ill about you. So make sure that you have everything documented, you keep proofs, you keep evidence, so that you can justify your standpoint. Otherwise, just go on, ignore. I have some more questions, I guess.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
A question from Priyanka.
Yep.
How to deal with those who is only thrashing your image for no reason?
Okay, I think it would be same as above, honestly speaking. Those who are out to tarnish your image, I would like to, you know, quote a very famous Sanskrit shlok translated into English, and which is that, you know, when the elephant walks, then the dogs will bark. Okay, and so some people will always talk negative about others. Remember the very famous crab mentality. They would want to pull you down and they will be talking things about you. But make sure you clarify yourself only to those who matter. Otherwise, you know, just go on doing your work. You will see that slowly these things, they die down. They die down their own death. You know, when people see you performing, when people see you growing, okay, eventually, you know, it's the success that matters. You know, people would shut up over a period of time. So that's Priyanka. I hope I could answer it to your satisfaction. Any other questions?
Yes, ma'am. Avinash Rakshe is asking about how to be bulletproof.
Okay, so I think he's using my example, bulletproof as in politics proof. So I'm saying that unless you really want to make a career in politics, do not try politics in the corporate world. Okay, you will see there will be temptation. You will see people, being a union leader, and they encouraging you also to join their bandwagon and join their party. I'm saying that remain politics proof. Do not indulge in politics yourself. People will keep coming to you talking about others, and they will drag you into it. But unless you have checked with the other party yourself, do not trust them. Okay, and don't react. The most important tool that I will share with you that might help you in surviving in the career game is emotional intelligence. Okay, so don't react, respond. You figure out, you find out, you calm down, and then take action. Okay, so
Uh, we have one more question, ma'am.
sure.
How to know what is good for our career and what we are good at?
Oh, okay. Now that's a deep question, and I think that's a question for some other day. And I tell you the reason. Sometimes it takes us some time to identify that what is it that I'm actually looking for, right? And I would call it finding the meaning in your life and
We have one
finding
more
your
question, ma'am.
purpose. Sure.
How to know what is good for our career and what we are good at?
Yeah, I was answering that. That's a deep question, and I think that's a question for some other day. And I tell you the reason. Sometimes it takes us some time to identify that what is it that I'm actually looking for, right? And I would call it finding the meaning in your life and
We have
finding
one
your
more question,
purpose. Sure. I think
How
it's been, yeah.
to know what is good for our career and what we are good.
Okay. So I think some repetition happened there. Sorry about that. So what do you do when you get accused from being different from others? Okay, so as long as being different matches with the ethos of the company or the organization you work with, you work towards the upholding the values, and you are doing the right thing, you are showing integrity, it doesn't really matter. Okay. How to have a positive mindset like you? I would say read, and please do attend such talks when the college they invite people, and it will give you different perspectives from different people from different walks of life, and that would help you build multiple perspectives, and I guess that also contributes towards building a positive mindset. Okay, Dipanshi, that's again an interesting question. Dominating versus, and I'm sure that that's a story for a different day, because that will invite us to deep dive. So we will park it when we meet again.
So is there
Yeah. Okay.
any other question, Sandeep
Just
sir?
Yeah, Harish is asking for some good readings. I would highly recommend 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. I would also recommend Empowering Yourself from Harvey Coleman. That's it, and we are done.
Yes, sir. Yes. No question is there, ma'am.
Okay. So thank you, Sandeep sir, for conducting this question and answer session. Now I express my vote of thanks to today's great speaker, Ms. Anu Sukhija. She is a OD consultant. Now today, ma'am, we have really understood what are the practical ways to become a good leader, to get the success. And these 3 rules that you have told today for being a good business leader, definitely that will help our student to develop their career. So it was really a practical session, and every time when we attend many sessions, it is entertaining session. But this is really a practical and entertaining session also, which has given a way to all the students to have to decide their direction for developing their career. I would like to thank also to our trustee of the organization, Executive Director, Honorable Dr. Smita Zadu ma'am, who has conducted this currently arranged this series of webinar to have say continuous supply of the educational services and to develop the students in a continuous manner. So I'm really thankful to the Smita ma'am. Also, I'm really thankful to the great leader of our organization, Dr. Safia Farooqui ma'am, director of DY Patil Vidyapeeth Center for Online Learning, who is continuously setting the vision in front of our organization, in front of our colleagues, and also the all the students to have a continuous improvement. So because of the Safia ma'am only, this today's webinar has been made possible, and really it will help to all the students of our organization. So I'm really thankful to all the people and also all the participative attendees, participants who has made this webinar to be more and more interactive. So thank you all of you for attending this session, and thank you very much from my side.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming for us. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thanks for inviting me. You have a lovely day and all the best wishes. Thank you.
Thanks. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.